Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the severe weather threat over the next few days and also talk about an Atlantic tropical update, especially an update on Invest 96L, where it could impact in today's video. So let's get right into things. Okay, we're going to start off with my graphics that I made. So first of all, we have a severe weather risk tonight, strong to severe storms likely today in the Midwest. The severe risks that are possible tonight is a tornado or two possible, numerous damaging winds likely potentially tonight, and scattered large hail possible. Potentially some up to 2 inches in diameter are possible. On the left, I do have future radar showing with ML Cape on there. What could potentially happen tonight, that's just one model run, but that's a potential that could happen tonight where we could see some supercells with large hail starting out and then turning into a line of storms, or MCS, potentially bring in more of a wind threat later on tonight, causing up to 60 to 70 mile per hour winds possibly. Okay, our next graphic shows the severe weather risk for tonight, showing our enhanced risk, which we have a 3 out of 5 of severe weather. We have a 2% tornado threat tonight, non-significant, where we could see maybe an isolated tornado being possible or two. We also have a 30% chance of wind, non-significant, so mainly numerous damaging wind. At the moment, mainly 60 to 70 miles per hour. They're not very confident in it getting up to 75 at the moment, but maybe in the next outlook that could be upgraded. We'll see. In our hail outlook, we do have a 15% chance significant of large hail, meaning up to 2 inches in diameter of large hail could be possible tonight. I showed on the right the area best potential of significant hail up to 2 inches, which includes southeast South Dakota, northeast Nebraska, central and northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, southwestern Wisconsin, and northwestern Illinois, and the risk of potentially up to 2 inch in diameter hail being possible. Some cities, Des Moines, Phoenix Falls, La Crosse, potentially seeing up to 2 inch in diameter hail being possible with the initial supercells that developed tonight. Some areas in enhanced risk are Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Chicago, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Grand Rapids, Michigan, in the slight risk. And then in our marginal risk, we have Helena, Montana, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then Washington, D.C. is in that marginal risk where we could see some isolated severe weather being possible. Okay, let's move on over to our Atlantic tropical update, a graphic that I made here. On the left, we have the graphic showing our disturbances. We now have Invest 96L, which is in that orange circle there. That's our Invest 96L. We also have two other disturbances. The one we watched last week near Mexico, that has a very low chance of development, so we really don't have to worry about that disturbance. And the one near the United States has a low chance of development also, so we don't have to worry about that one as well. The only one right now we have to monitor very closely is Invest 96L, which in the next 2 days has a 10% chance of development, so it's an unlikely chance of development within the next 2 days. But in the next 7 days, we do have a 60% chance of development, which is possible for potentially developing into a tropical depression, maybe, or higher. So Invest 96L will be moving into a favorable environment for development in the next couple of days. Invest 96L is heading into warm waters and a little bit of wind shear. Over the next 2 days, Invest 96L has an unlikely chance of development, but in the next 7 days has a possible chance of development. Also, I think I did make a mistake on this graphic, just realizing it. On our 2-day cyclone formation chance, it's actually, I believe, now a 20% chance of development now. So I'm sorry I made a little mistake there. Just want to warn you guys. But it does have a 20% chance of development within the next 2 days that we're going to have to watch. Still a unlikely chance in the next 2 days, but as we head into the next 7 days, we do have a more likely chance, potentially by midweek, next week, potentially of a tropical depression or maybe even higher. So we're going to have to watch it very closely. So now we're talking about our Convective Outlook Day 1, which is today. We do have a severe weather risk across the Midwest, a pretty significant event, enhanced risk of 3 out of 5 on the scale for parts of the Midwest, We already kind of talked about this, so we're going to move on to our risk up in Maine. We do have a marginal risk in northern Maine where we could see a little bit isolated severe weather being possible. We also have another marginal risk, 1 out of 5, in Arizona where we could have a little bit isolated severe weather being possible also for areas of southern Arizona. As we head into day 2 tomorrow, we do have 2 areas of marginal risk. Our first one being from Montana all the way down to Kansas. And then we also have another one from Missouri all the way up into Maine, where we could see potentially some isolated severe weather being possible in that green shade. In the yellow shade is our slight risk, where we could see more scattered severe weather being possible in 2 areas from Wyoming all the way down to Nebraska, and another area from Massachusetts all the way down to Kentucky. Like I said, scattered severe storms could be possible in some of these areas. As we head into day 3, we have 2 marginal risks in effect, which is 1 out of 5 on our scale, all the way from about New Hampshire all the way down to Missouri, and then another marginal risk from Wyoming into Nebraska, where we could see more isolated severe weather being possible. But in the next few days, this could be upgraded as we get closer. So as our slight risk streak continues on here, so we're going to have to watch it very closely over the next few days, as we could have some severe weather going on Sunday. Moving on to our future radar, we could see some storms developing tonight. It will continue to move east, maybe some other thunderstorms in Nebraska tonight. So in tomorrow, maybe some other thunderstorms in the northeast, Missouri. Then maybe some other thunderstorms in areas of Colorado and Nebraska. Heading into Sunday is why we have that marginal risk severe weather being possible. Okay, now we're going to get into Invest 96L model intensity guidance. As we go forward, it looks like most of the models do expect this to become a tropical storm in the future. As we get toward near like the 60-hour mark, 3 models agree on tropical storm intensity. We most likely will have at least a tropical depression and maybe even a tropical storm as we get closer. Even some models showing up to a Category 1, but it's a little too far out to say if it will make it up to that. We just got to see how this goes over the next few days, as we do, like I said, have a little bit of wind shear has to make it through, but it's not as bad as the other storm had to deal with of wind shear. So it's something we're going to have to watch over the next few days with this storm. Okay, here's the path of potentially Invest 96L. The good news is no land is going to be impacted by this storm, at least right now, on the models they're showing. Most of these are showing it stays in the Atlantic, moves north, and goes out. It stays in the Atlantic and doesn't really impact any land that we see, not even Bermuda. It doesn't look like anywhere really will be affected by this storm, at least in the next couple of days. So the good news is we don't have to worry about any land getting impacted, whatever happens. Okay, our ocean waters here over the tropical Atlantic are above average than normal, especially on an El Nino year. We have more above average sea surface temperatures than normal. And I did hear that there could have been a record potentially near the Keys in Florida of a new potentially global record of sea surface temperatures. I can't confirm for sure if it was, but I do want to say that it feels like a hot tub, I heard, down near the Keys with some of that sea surface temperatures being high. And we see this, there's like 29 degrees Celsius all the way down into the main development region. So there's definitely plenty of warm ocean waters for these storms to develop in. It's just the wind shear which is potentially going to tear them apart. But ocean waters, we definitely got that for these storms. Okay, our wind shear as this moves to the west, it looks like we'll have a little less wind shear. It shows a little bit of wind shear being possible, but it doesn't show very much wind shear out ahead of the storm. Not as bad as our last storm, where we had lots of wind shear in the path of it. So luckily in the future we do not see as much wind shear with this storm. And like I said, we don't have any land. It doesn't look like being impacted, at least within the next 7 days we have to worry about. But this storm could strengthen up to a tropical depression, tropical storm, and maybe in the future, still a little far out to say, maybe a hurricane, maybe in the future, but still a little far out. We got to see what this does over the next few days. And at the moment, it's not expected to hit any land. so you shouldn't have to worry about this storm too much. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try to have another video out Monday next week talking more about the heat wave. I know I really didn't talk about it today, so I'm going to try to hold that off till next week to talk a little more about the heat wave. Today I'm more focused on the severe weather risk going on and our tropics going on and what could happen to Invest 96L in the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe, and share. Would all be appreciated. And see you guys in the next video.